It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Hey, I wanted to bring the king of solutions, as I call him, Greg Kaplan, on the end of the day with Ray. Earlier this week, we were talking about the one-off. Come on, dealers, you know what I'm talking about, the one-off. The rep runs back to the office and says, hey, we gotta do this solution as part of the bid, because if we don't, we're not going to get the 50 machines. And then the dealer sets out on a path of total destruction, no real profit, and it turns out to be a big disaster. Greg, how are you doing? Let's talk about the one-off.
Hey, Ray, I'm doing great. Glad to be back on End of the Day with Ray. Yeah, so get called in for a one-off. These end up being disasters. Disasters for the dealer because they're frustrated. The solution vendor doesn't know the problem that they're coming in to solve. They're told just to do a demo, and then the customer's in the middle of it. So I haven't seen one-offs turn into a really good situation, good short-term outcome, or long-term sustainable opportunity for dealers.
Well, it never are. You know, even in the hardware part, think about how many dealers get into production print. I'm a big, not a big fan of production print, 2% of the marketplace. But they'll run back to the office and they'll say, hey, this new print shop just opened up. We got to sell this big giant machine. Dealer will say, oh, yeah, let's do it. And then, of course, they got to buy another one to put in their demo room. It's a one-off. Everybody ends in disaster. So let me ask you a question, Greg. You put together a webinar with your business partner, David. You were talking about how a dealer can actually make money in selling solutions. You explained it all out, showed them where the money is. But here's the reality. When I think about doing these, assessments around solutions, I don't think those should be free. And so you had mentioned that, no, dealers should be charging for that stuff. So the question to you is, a guy that's been in the solution space for 20 plus years, is there really an avenue for these dealer friends of ours to go into accounts and do surveys or assessments and charge for that?
Ray, absolutely. So two answers to that. One is, during this whole pandemic, I've talked to a couple of C-level people about their copier and their workflow, and all of them said they don't know who their print vendor is, but they would be open to a conversation with him or her about their workflow. Because you know what? To move the needle for these guys, it's not about saving a couple of points off the price of a product. It's really about changing how they do their workflow. So back to your point. Can you make money by charging for an assessment? The answer is yes, if you are customer-led, not product-led. And you cannot make money on a solutions deal just by looking to make margin on the software product. There have to be added services in for the dealer to account for all the trips back and forth to the customer, creating design documents and building templates or whatever the solution might encompass.
Well, I got to be honest with you. I think that's the big pitfall. They chase the solution. They get the pricing from the vendor. We talked about this before. These vendors don't really care if a dealership's knocking out of the park and profit on their solutions. Now, they're not going to maliciously say that, but the point of it is, if they have 1,000 dealers buying one-offs, they're doing quite well. But that's not good for your dealership. And I think that's your point, and that's why you got into this consulting business in the first place, trying to help dealers profitize this business. Well, Greg, it was a great conversation we had about the one-off, and I think it's serious. It's a serious problem not only in hardware, but it's also a serious problem in solutions. And as our friends start to pivot and sell more solutions, they have to have the plans in place, and I think that's where you're helping dealers do that. Let me ask you a question right now. What do you see in the imaging channel from what does good look like? If I'm a dealer and I'm really knocking it out of the park selling solutions, what did I do to get there?
Good looks like a culture built around solutions where it starts from the dealer, owner, or management team sitting in some of these trainings, understanding not the features of a product, but the benefits to a customer and how to digitally transform, to use a buzzword from today, what that looks like. But it starts from the top. If you're going to treat it like a side business or a hobby business, then don't expect to make a lot of money or profits with it. But when you take it seriously, I'm telling dealers there is profit and there is a big opportunity to improve your revenue with solutions. Especially now, a lot of them are cloud-enabled, which lends itself very nicely to a subscription recurring revenue model.
Well, I got to be honest with you, Greg. We all know that those copy machines that are in people's offices aren't being used. They're not collecting service revenue. But everybody's probably paying their cloud services bills, I would imagine. So that's a good point to bring up. Well, Greg, it's always good having you on the End of the Day with Ray. I'll look forward to the next time. Is there anything you want to wrap this up with?
One word, Ray, profitability. Let's focus on profitability. solutions can help you do that, we're happy to work with dealers to show them a roadmap and a business plan on how they can get there.
Appreciate the conversation. My friend, you know what I always say, the difference between a business and a hobby is usually profit. I'm going to end this the way I always do. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.